Hello everybody, it's Dave Neal, stand-up comic, host of Bachelor Nation News with our third video of the day. Katie Thurston preps for a big return. Inside Katie Thurston's return to reality TV on FBoy Island, this time around is very different. Why is it different? Well, we'll get into that in just a second. Follow me on Instagram at DNeals, patreon.com/Dave Neal for behind-the-scenes bonus content. If you like what we do and want to throw some bread in the tip jar and join the private community for as little as $5 a month, it helps support the channel. You know, we make our money from the YouTube ad sales, which are down about 30% this year. We just can't control it. It's attached to the economy. But if you want to say, hey, I enjoy what you do, Dave, I spend a considerable amount of time listening to your content, well, you can join the Patreon if you want to help out. I appreciate that. Patreon.com/Dave Neal. And every afternoon, Bachelor Rush Hour, the hit podcast. On today's podcast, we discussed Astrid's new baby. They just had their second baby in 20 months. Plus, I covered what The Rock had to say about the Maui fire relief. Plus, discuss some other heavier topics and some other Bachelor news topics, including Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift and all of that. So you can go check that out today on the podcast. Now, I'm going to get into the Katie Thurston stuff in a second, but I had to, there's good podcast reviews I appreciate. I really love, but sometimes I don't share them because it's just a pat on my back. But here's one titled, "God Loves You." 1 star. Dave is judgmental towards conservatives. It's ironic how liberals preach tolerance, but yet they are vocal about those they don't agree with. God loves everyone. Give him your worries and let go. My God is calling your comment bullshit, okay? Calling me judgmental. Look, what do you mean when you say conservatives? Are we talking about Chris Christie and fiscal policies? Or are we talking about people that are trying to control what they do with women's bodies based on religion? Is it conservatives that you have an issue with, or my attack on people that use means to control others? Very interesting there, but that was a 1-star review. If you want to help the channel out and give positive 5-star reviews, that option is up to you. But to say I'm judgmental towards others and then you give me a review, I just share my opinion, as I'm judgmental towards liberals as well. But people wonder why I keep harping on these things, and it's like, you bring them to my food, you're taking food off my table here by giving my channel a poor review. Every 1-star review on my channel has to do with religion and politics. Why don't you give me a 5-star review for the good audio and just realize we have different opinions? Okay, let's get into this story here. Katie Thurston was on the podcast here with Sarah Heron. Let's have a listen to this quick clip, and then I'll share what she had to say on Almost Famous podcast.
Worried about your own judgment, or questioned yourself because in the past, you thought you found the one, or you thought you made the right decision, and maybe looking back, you were like, oh, I was clouded there.
Yeah, I mean, this time around is very different because I've had my experience, which also means not only can people be on the show for their own experience, but then maybe they could be going after me for, dare I say, the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Because, I have a platform now. So it's like more insecurities, I think, were present in my dare I say, third time now on a reality dating show, because I have gone through it, and I don't know who's trying to use me to get to the end and experience that, 5 minutes of fame or whatever.
Was it empowering to kind of step in front of the camera again, though? Because obviously you did it. You kind of took a little time away from the camera. You were doing comedy. You're still working. You're still out there. But now you're back, and it's in an environment that you clearly felt comfortable in or got comfortable in. Was it like when you were filming it, were you like, oh, I'm so glad I did this? Like, this was the move?
I definitely did not have any regrets going into it. And even at the end, I was on such a high, which was such a different feeling compared to my other experiences. What I loved is this time around, I knew what I needed to feel good in this environment and to make it a successful experience, for my journey. And the executive producers allowed that. There was just very open conversations about how we can work together and make this a good thing for everybody that's involved.
All right, so there she goes. And by the way, credit where it's due. Katie has good audio and good video there. I feel like the app that that they're using here is a low quality app on the side of what is the company here? Us Magazine, like those Flash player apps don't look well, but either way, good audio, good lighting, good video. Hey, credit where it's due, folks. I always judge the poor audio and video, but very nice there. Now, audio only, we have Katie Thurston on the Almost Famous podcast, continuing that conversation with regards to the executive producer of FBoy Island. His name is Elon Gale, and he was one of the main producers for The Bachelor during its heyday, and a lot of people can say he is the reason why The Bachelor was good, and now that's why FBoy Island, even though it was canceled and brought back to life, was never accused of not being a good TV show. It just was involved in that HBO Discovery merger where a lot of shows got canned. But now it's on CW. It comes out Monday. Let's have a listen.
Know what your reaction was when you first met Elon Gale, who officiated my wedding and was a father of the Bachelor franchise for so long.
Well, I'd never got to work with him,
What?
By the time I had my experience, on Bachelor, I should say.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah.
But I'd heard so many great things about him. And so when the opportunity came for the show and his name obviously being like the mastermind behind it, I'd already had a feeling like it was going to be a really good match. Meeting him, though, everything everyone has ever said about him is true. He's amazing. He's a genius. He tells you ideas and you're just like, this is why you are doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was great. I love him. We're very close today. Like we've been in constant contact even after the show. And I mean, he's going to be in my life forever for sure. Yeah.
Wow.
When I saw that you were going on FBoy Island, and obviously Alon was around when I was on the show, my first thought was like, those two are a good duo. Like you two could work really well together. And I kind of wanted to go in, and we don't have to, obviously your time on The Bachelorette is not something we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about FBoy Island. But I think if you think back on your time as The Bachelorette, and you would have had an Alon there, who, let's be honest, right? Alon does share a lot of opinions. He has a lot of thoughts. He is much more, I would say, vocal about what he thinks you should be doing and what he thinks would be really good. Sometimes that rubs people the wrong way. Sometimes you're like, no, that's a crazy thought. I would never do that myself. Do you think you would have appreciated having him there, or do you think it would have annoyed you in that season of life?
Oh, it would have been a better experience. And, and what I went through without him being there and what now I know he's like if he had been there. He definitely has that human element of like, here's my thoughts. Now tell me what your thoughts are about that. It was just like an open dialogue ongoing on how to make great TV, find love. There was just so much transparency. And that's something I really respect from him versus, other experiences are a little like, everyone's trying to like make you a little bit of a puppet. It's like, no, just tell me what you want. And like, let's work together and make something great happen.
Yeah. Give me the clarity. I think that's one of the big things that I felt was at least I had the clarity. And I felt like I had the position to say, no, man, you're crazy. I'm not doing that. I don't think that's right at all. And at least the conversation existed. And maybe that was part of his strategy because over time you just get worn down and you're like, yeah, I'll do whatever you say.
So what they describe here is what makes any boss-employee relationship valuable is feeling heard, even if you don't always agree with the other person. When you work in film, you'll generally have this hierarchy, especially in scripted, where you've got the cinematographer who offers your opinion. I think we should do this shot. We should have this lighting this way. And then you've got the director who kind of overrides it all. And sometimes the producer will override the director. And sometimes the actor just has to say the lines and do it the way, like unless you're like an A-lister who's got, producer credit, you don't just get to do things your way. You're beholden to this hierarchy that exists. Well, in reality TV, they have to create a similar hierarchy where in the end, the edit is in control of, whoever's in control of the edit, which is usually the executive producer, is the person who tells the story because they get so much content that they can intertwine it in a way that will get to, they can make a villain out of anybody, essentially. So with Katie here, for her to trust Elon with his track record that he has and make it conversational, it makes you feel more authentic in the moment because you're not feeling like you're forced to do something or wear something or say someone or pick something. And, that freedom can really make for a better, higher energy show.
But, before we dive into FBoy Island, you do have a career right now in improv. You have been doing stand-up. I have done
career in improv. I mean, she took an improv class, but what's he talking about?
Not once in my life. I think it was the hardest thing I've ever done. I never want to do it again because
Jared wants to do it so badly.
I was sweating all over in places I didn't know I could sweat. I was sick to my stomach. The green room behind it, it was an open mic night, was chaotic because you had people getting sick from being nervous. You had people super chilled out being like, this is just great.
I see nervous energy all the time. I've never seen people get sick from being nervous. But this must have been a very high stakes open mic you was at.
And then you had me just in the corner, like shaking, like I don't want to do it. Katie, what made you step into that, and kind of how's it going? Give us a quick update.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Jared should definitely give it a shot because you never know until you do it. You have either a Ben who's like, I tried it, never again, or myself, who when I did my first open mic, same vibe. I was like, I don't know. And then did it. I watched the tape back and I was like, hell yeah, I got this.
Did you have a set written out?
Yeah. So when we did my very first open mic, it's 3 minutes, which is so obtainable. Right.
Oh, okay.
And so I kept chickening out. And then finally I was just telling people, I'm like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Kind of hold myself accountable by like announcing it. You know, like once you put it out in the world, you look like a little chicken when you like back out. So I'm like, well, everyone knows I'm going to do it. So might as well go all in. So yeah, I had practiced a little bit of a 3 minute set, but you really don't know what it's like until you're on stage. And so when I was on stage, I felt like I blinked and it was over. But then when I watched the video back that my friend recorded, I was like, oh, I think I got this. And so it's been a year now of doing stand-up, both with either open mics or big shows with big names. And it's just been so much fun.
Yeah, good advice there for anyone who wants to try something creatively is like tell people, make yourself accountable because you will feel resistance, which again in the book, The War of Art, you feel resistance for things that you love, especially creative things. You know how hard it is having been a 10 plus year stand-up vet to get to take time to write because I feel resistance because I love it. But it's also like when you love something, you avoid it. You're like, all right, I'll do that after. And I always will I'll make the writing and performance aspect of what I do the last priority because I don't know. It's just hard. It can be hard to develop those strong, it's almost like going to the gym, right? It's very hard to develop those methodologies to stay consistent with creating content creatively. Does that make sense? So either way, good on her for sticking to it. And, the sky's the limit. It's a long process, but 1 year goes by fast. So they always say better to start, if you want to start 10 years ago, that would have been great. But the next best time is to start today with whatever creative stuff you're pursuing. And good on her that she's able to do a TV show. I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of comedic elements to it. Get a good paycheck. Grab some new followers, and then keep doing stand-up. No harm, no foul. Let me know what you guys think. The full episode of the Ben and Ashley Almost Famous podcast is out right now. You can go listen to that. I'll probably dive through it some more. It's only 20 minutes, which is probably 10 minutes of ads. But I'm going to listen to some more, and then if there's any other content for that, we'll have it for you tomorrow. That'll be it for me today. Have a good one, everyone. Be kind out there, and I'll talk to you later.